Did you know that the pace at which you speak can make or break your message? In fact, studies show that 38% of how we judge a speaker is based on their tone and pacing. That means if you're speaking too fast or too slow, your audience might miss the point, even if your content is great. Shockingly, we only remember about 25% of what we hear if it's delivered too quickly. But here's the good news: mastering your speaking pace can drastically improve how your audience connects with you. It's not just about talking slower or faster, it's about using pace to hold attention, make key points stand out, and keep people hanging on to every word. In this guide, we'll explore how to find that perfect pace that keeps listeners engaged, how top speakers use timing to captivate their audience, and why micro-pacing can make your message unforgettable. Get ready to learn how small changes in your delivery can make a huge impact on how people experience your speech. Let's dive in. Chapter 1: Speed or Sloth. Finding your sweet spot. When you speak, your pacing can make or break your message. Imagine talking too quickly, your audience struggles to keep up, and your points get lost. On the other hand, speaking too slowly can make people tune out, checking their phones or watching the clock. The key is to find a balance that works for both you and your listeners. Studies show that the ideal speaking rate is between 125 and 150 words per minute, WPM. This rate allows you to be clear, but still keep the audience engaged. Think of it like a rhythm in music: too fast, and it's chaotic; too slow, and it's boring. But when you find that sweet spot, everything flows. A good way to start is by recording yourself speaking. Play it back and ask yourself, can I follow my own speech? If you can't keep up with what you're saying, you're probably talking too fast. But if you feel your speech dragging, it's likely too slow. Next, practice speaking with varied speeds to see how it feels. Use a fast pace for exciting points and slow down for key moments you want your audience to really absorb. Remember, variety is what keeps people interested. Just like how a song with only one tempo can feel monotonous, a speech with a single pace can be tiresome. Another tip: always pause after key points. It gives your audience time to digest what you just said. In fact, studies show that we retain information better when there's a short pause afterward. It's the brain's way of processing and storing information. Chapter 2: The Rhythm of Speech. Mastering your timing. Timing isn't just for comedians or actors, it's crucial for every speaker. When you speak, your words create a rhythm, whether you realize it or not. And this rhythm plays a big role in how your audience perceives your message. Think of it this way: if you speak too quickly without pauses, it's like running through a sentence without stopping to breathe. It's exhausting to listen to, and it's hard to follow. On the flip side, when you slow down and use pauses, you give your audience time to think. These pauses aren't awkward silences, they're intentional spaces that make what you say more memorable. According to the book Talk Like TED by Carmine Gallo, pauses are powerful tools for commanding attention. Gallo notes that top speakers use pauses as a way to punctuate their points and create suspense. One trick to mastering timing is to use the rule of 3. It's a strategy where you make a key point, then pause, deliver another important point, and pause again. This creates a rhythm that is easy to follow and holds the audience's attention. It's also essential to time your pauses. A pause that lasts a second too long can feel uncomfortable, while a pause that's too short won't give your audience enough time to absorb the information. Practice this in front of a mirror or with a friend to get it right. But here's a fun fact: people tend to speak faster when they're nervous. If you find yourself speeding up under pressure, it might help to take a deep breath and consciously slow down. As the famous public speaking coach, Dale Carnegie, said, the most important thing in speaking is the ability to stop when you are finished. Chapter 3: From Monotone to Magnetic. Pace is your secret weapon. Ever listen to a speaker who seemed to be speaking in one long, unbroken line? That's called a monotone voice, and it's a common problem for many speakers. But here's the good news: pace is the secret weapon you can use to avoid it. When you speak with varied pace, your delivery becomes dynamic. A sudden change in speed can grab attention, especially when you slow down to emphasize something important. Conversely, speeding up at a key moment can create excitement and urgency. A study conducted by researchers at the University of Michigan found that speakers who vary their pace by speeding up or slowing down during key moments are rated as more engaging. Their audience felt more connected and involved in the speech. If you can master this technique, you're on your way to becoming a magnetic speaker. Now, let's talk about how to make pacing work with your tone. When you speak faster, your tone tends to rise, making your words sound more energized. When you slow down, your tone drops, which can add weight and authority to what you're saying. Knowing when to switch between these can make your speech feel like a performance, rather than a lecture. One thing to keep in mind is that pacing also helps you avoid sounding robotic. Without natural speed changes, your speech can come across as mechanical, even if the content is great. A key strategy is to imagine you're telling a story. In storytelling, you're constantly adjusting your pace to create suspense or to let a joke land. This works the same way in speeches. Try experimenting with faster-paced stories and slower, more reflective points to see what feels right. In fact, TED speaker Julian Treasure, in his book How to Speak So People Listen, emphasizes that pacing plays a big role in influencing how your audience perceives your authority and passion. He says, "The greatest speakers know how to use the variation of pace to keep their audience hooked from beginning to end. By varying your pace, you make your speech more lively and engaging. It allows your personality and passion to shine through. This creates a connection with your audience that goes beyond the words you say." Ultimately, mastering pace means you can turn your speech into an unforgettable experience, one where your audience is hanging on every word. Don't forget to subscribe to get more tips and tricks for becoming a great speaker. Chapter 4: The Power of Micro-Pacing. Control the room with every word. Micro-pacing is a technique that allows you to control the flow of your speech with subtle changes in your speed. It's all about making small adjustments to your pacing to emphasize certain words or phrases, giving them more weight and impact. Think of it like putting a spotlight on specific moments in your speech. When used correctly, micro-pacing can turn an average talk into a memorable one. One of the most powerful ways to use micro-pacing is to slow down just before you make an important point. A slight pause before delivering a key idea creates anticipation. Research shows that this simple technique can increase audience retention by up to 25%. By giving people a moment to process, you're allowing them to absorb what you're saying on a deeper level. Micro-pacing is also essential for controlling your energy. By speeding up during high-energy moments and slowing down during reflective ones, you guide your audience's emotional response. For example, when sharing an exciting story or giving a call to action, quickening your pace can generate excitement. In contrast, slowing down allows your audience to reflect on what's just been said, giving them space to think. A key strategy is to practice staggering your pace. Alternate between fast and slow to keep the audience on their toes. The goal is to ensure your pace is varied but natural. TED speakers, for instance, are known for using this technique to keep their talks lively and engaging. It's a strategy that lets them hold the audience's attention while highlighting key messages. Another fun fact: research from the University of California found that when speakers use varied pacing, their listeners are more likely to feel like they're in control of the conversation. This creates a stronger connection with the audience. Essentially, the more control you have over your pacing, the more control you have over the room. Chapter 5: Pacing in Practice. Real-world techniques from top speakers. To truly master pacing, it helps to learn from the best. Many of the world's greatest speakers have perfected the art of pacing, and their techniques can be adapted for anyone looking to improve their speaking style. Take Barack Obama, for example. He's known for his deliberate pacing, especially in his speeches. Obama often uses pauses to punctuate powerful statements, giving his words more emotional weight. Another excellent example is Steve Jobs. Jobs wasn't just an innovator in technology, he was also a masterful speaker. His pacing varied with the content of his speech. When revealing a new product, he sped up his delivery, building excitement and suspense. However, during his more reflective moments, Jobs would slow down, allowing his words to sink in. One thing these speakers have in common is their ability to use pacing to reinforce their message. By adjusting their speed, they could emphasize the importance of certain ideas. This strategy makes a speech more memorable, as it highlights key moments rather than delivering everything in one flat tone. It's also important to consider your audience. If you're speaking to a room full of experts, you can afford to use a faster pace and go into more detail. But if you're addressing a broader audience, it's essential to slow down and make sure everyone is following. This is why practicing your pacing with different audiences is a great way to fine-tune your technique. A study by the University of Chicago found that speakers who match their pacing to the audience's level of understanding can improve the audience's comprehension by 30%. In other words, adjusting your pace to meet the needs of your listeners makes your message clearer and more effective. Chapter 6: Your Pace, Your Presence. Connecting with your audience. Your pacing has a direct impact on how you connect with your audience. It's not just about the speed at which you speak, it's about how that speed influences your relationship with your listeners. When you speak at the right pace, you show confidence, control, and authenticity. It's a reflection of your comfort on stage, and it's how you keep your audience hooked. To truly connect with your audience, you need to read the room. If the energy in the room is low, try picking up the pace slightly to inject some excitement. On the other hand, if people seem distracted or disengaged, slowing down can give you the space to re-engage them. The ability to adjust your pace based on audience feedback is what sets great speakers apart. The idea of pacing as a tool for connection is explored in Presence by Amy Cuddy. She suggests that how you speak is just as important as what you say. Cuddy highlights how confident speakers often vary their pacing to express authority while still showing warmth. A change in pace can communicate sincerity, interest, and even empathy, allowing you to connect on a deeper level with your audience. A useful technique is the mirror effect. Before your speech, observe someone who speaks with the pace you admire. Pay attention to how they use speed changes and pauses. Then, incorporate similar techniques into your own delivery. This simple exercise can drastically improve how your pace aligns with your overall presence. One important thing to remember is that pacing is linked to your body language. If you're rushing through your words, chances are your body language will reflect that, fidgeting, pacing around, or looking uncomfortable. By slowing your speech down, you give yourself the time to stand still, make eye contact, and exude confidence. Research shows that when speakers slow down and use deliberate pauses, their body language tends to be more grounded, which makes them appear more confident. Ultimately, the way you pace yourself during a speech can either enhance or hinder your ability to build rapport with your audience. Slow down when you need to build trust or convey seriousness, and speed up when you're trying to inspire action or excitement. By mastering these adjustments, you can take full control of how you come across and how your message is received. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more speaking tips that can help you become the speaker everyone wants to listen to.